That's one way to get them out of here.
Hey everybody, how's it going today? John here from Wood If I Could Do It, Portrait Design, Scrollsaw, Woodworks, and everything else have you. On the panel with me today, I got Herb. Say hey, Herb.
Hello, everybody.
And today we got Shay over in the chat over on Facebook because she asked me a question about how to do framing. So we're going to answer her questions, and we're going to keep up with the chat though, because I know she's going to have a lot of questions for us. She's having, what did she just say? She says she has a cold or allergies are acting up, so she doesn't want to be on video. Hello, Mr. Josh Grover. How's it going today?
Hello, Josh.
Josh, did you go back and reread my post on Facebook? I posted something on Facebook, and everybody's laughing and agreeing with me, and Josh is the only one that had actually argued with me. I said, Josh, go back and read it slow. You'll understand it better. So what have we got? We got Larry's in the chat. We got Who's Your Mike in the chat. And yeah, I read your post. And we got some framing to do. Now, framing your woodwork is pretty simple. You can do like Shay did. She went out, she found a bunch of frames that were all on sale, because we were talking about that on Charlie's show last night. And he said that I gotta take all this time and make all these frames. Well, actually, Josh makes them for him. And, but she went out, bought a bunch of frames, and I think they were 11 by 18 or something like that. And it actually gave two sizes. I think it was 11 by 18. And then it had a matted size as well, because it came with a mat. So they're all pre-built. So basically, all she has to do is size her work to fit in her frames, and then they're automatically instantly framed when she does them. Now, people that, I'm not gonna say don't think ahead to pick up frames like that, because I remember one time I bought a whole bunch of frames at Michael's, not sponsored, and they were all like 3 for $1. They were those 8.5 by 11 certificate frames, right? And they were good for the work I was doing at the time, as long as you cut like 1/16 to 1/8 maximum thickness. They work fine for you. But if you want to frame your work, first thing you got to do is have a backer on it. You need a backer on your work in order for it to stay sturdy and secure. Hey David, how's it going? And you want your work to stay sturdy and secure. And a couple of ways you can do that is basically just use do your cut. Here, let me put me on full screen here.
Yeah, you only see my beautiful face.
Cut out your scroll saw work, and then mount it on the backer. This one, when did I do this one? This is old. I don't even think I dated this one, because I kept this one for myself. No, I didn't. So this one I did the same as the bear that I'm working on right now. I put my cedar tongue and groove on the backer and mounted it to plywood to keep it nice and secure. Glued it all together, and then I built a frame for it. Ooh, look at that fancy frame with those nice sharp corners, right? Sharp corners are important because you want it to look nice. And it doesn't. And what I do is I actually cheat when I build my frames, and I'll show you that in a second. And it doesn't matter what size frame you use, whether it's a 1/2-inch frame or 2.5-inch frame, right? You still want it to look nice. Always have a backer on it. And the way that I cheat is I go down to my wood store and I buy molding. Now these moldings, if you look at them, have a groove on the back side of them. So there's the front with a nice Nice OG profile. And there's the back. Now, this is a chair rail, I believe. And this would be I'm not sure whether it's a chair rail or it's just a molding. Doesn't matter. So just pick up a fancy molding or whatever kind you have. And the reason I picked these ones up, for the simple reason is that when you have your, I thought I grabbed everything here. I'll grab my Yodas. Is that when you have your scroll work being 1/4 inch, and you got your backer piece being 1/4 inch, stick them together, get a 1/2 inch. Now, these moldings got a 1/2 inch drop on them, so that when you stick them together, they fit nice like that. Now, I'll just line that up so you can see that better. See, 1/2 inch drop on the backside, and so that it gives you a nice groove on the front. And same with the larger one as well. Got a 1/2 inch drop on the back side of it. So you can cheat and put an instant frame onto it like that. And that's got a 3/8 overhang on it. So depending on the size of the work that you're building and what you want to do with it, it's going to depend on the size of your frame you're going to use. And I also found that instead of building a frame, if you want to build a shadow box for it, get floor molding, floor or ceiling molding, right? Because it's pretty wide. I think that's 3 inch wide. That's a 3 inch wide molding. And if you want to cheat with making these into shadow boxes, all you got to do is 45 your corners to your length that you want, and then put a dado cut in the backside, 1/4 inch there, and a 1/8 on the front side. If you're going to put glass or plastic in it, and there's lots of room there. There's at least a 1/2 inch there, so you can cut in a 1/4 inch into it, slide your plastic into it. I don't have a shadow box made yet, so I can't show that to you because they gave them all away. And then you can either put a 1/2 inch dado or a rabbit on the bottom edge of this to line up into your wood, same as the other rails there, so that it'll just set right into it, and then slide your glass in the top edge before you glue your last end piece on. Now, not every piece of work needs a frame. Some just need backers just to accent your piece off, right? Like this one I did. And the thing is that you can actually buy, or you can actually pick up, if you want, go down to your frame store, your craft store, Michael's, Staples, whatever. Pick up one of these frame holders. All right. Now with these picture holders, there's a fancy A stand. Just a fancy A stand, and you can just, even without a backer or frame on it, stick it up like that. That's all you need. So there's no frame on that one. There's no frame on this one. This one's actually just a wall piece, a wall piece decoration. Same thing, right? Set them on there. Doesn't need a frame. It looks good the way it is. If you want to build frames for them, you can. And the thing is, you can build custom, like you're custom design them anyway. This one could have been rectangular, but I just decided to go with the shape of his face to begin with, right? Then if you want to get fancy and artistic, because it is what it is and you can do whatever you want, you don't even need to put a full frame on it. Just go like this one here. I just did it. I just did a 1/4 frame on it, did a fancy cut on my scroll saw, and just have my one mask hanging off the one end. All right. So, hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Good. Howdy, y'all.
What are you up to today?
Oh, finishing up the mother silhouettes.
Still? You haven't done those yet?
Man,
You had all day yesterday to work on those.
yeah, well, I'd be done if I wasn't on here and there and everywhere else.
Oh, you're blaming YouTube. Oh, that's awesome.
And then doing the old house thing too.
Ah. So, since I'm doing this framing for shade, do you have any more questions? Does anybody have any questions about framing so far?
No, but I did do some of those plate stands or whatever from Steve Good's
Those ones? Yep.
patterns. Yeah, those turn out pretty good.
Yeah, because I know, like you can buy. Well, you can actually make them because I know this one. I think was like I'm pretty sure I picked this up at the dollar store for like $1. You can get the ones that are bifold ones that open up on a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
You can make them on a 45-degree angle. You can make them. You can cut them with a scroll saw. If you got one on your desk, you can make them any size you want. You can make them easel size as well.
Yeah, I made mine. The Steve Good one with the slots to stick them together.
Yep. Yeah, those ones work too. Oh yeah. The double slot ones.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Eva.
And I know that a couple of the designs and patterns I made, I basically used my chalet cedar, my 1/4-inch cedar. I cut the tongue and groove off on the saw, cut them down to 1-inch strips. And the thing I like about these is that they're actually double-sided. You get a smooth side and a rough side. So depending on whether you want like, rustic look or whether you want refined look, you can actually you can either do half lap joints on them, which basically means you're cutting, and half lap joints are actually pretty easy to do. All you do is mark down the width of your top piece on there, and you're basically cutting off half the thickness on each one. Now it's not fancy work. You don't need fancy materials or anything for them. You can actually just cut that half lap on your scroll saw. So this back area is what you're taking off, and you do the opposite side to the other one. So you're cutting that back piece right there off, and you do the opposite side to the other one. So when you stick them together, you go halfway through, and it laps over. Hence a half lap. So that when you slot them together, it'll actually lay over top of itself like that, but they'll actually be in line the way they're supposed to be. So half laps are pretty easy. What I've done before actually is gone with a rustic. I don't even know what the word for it is. It's rustic, country, couture, blah, blah, hippie language. Basically, just take your frame, and what I do is I'll glue probably a 1/4 inch onto my work. So my finished work, I'll glue it on, but a 1/4 inch over, and I'll just run a couple pin nails, pin nails into it. And on my corner edges, I'll either line them up square like that, which gives you that nice, cool rustic look, like I said, or I'll actually take whatever this distance is here and overlap it that way to give it that nice extra country look, right? But you can do whatever you want, and you only need a few simple. With effect, you make that cut further and leave for the height. Yeah, exactly. With a few simple tools, you can make all kinds of fancy joints and everything else. So basically, you need a square, a combination square, preferably. You can use a speed square if you want, just for the 40. You basically just need it for the 45. You need a pencil, sharp pencil. You need a craft knife, and if you can pick one up, pick up a framing square. Framing squares are nice to have because
that's not a framing square.
That's a framing
square. That's a framing clamp.
It's a framing clamp, a frame clamp.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
It's a framing square. Because it squares up your frames.
Yes.
Square. And for your quick glue ups, when you're gluing them all up, where did I put it? It's also nice to have. Just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna get hot dogs in a second here.
Oh no! Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog.
Yeah. Oh, you came out just in time because Charles just came on.
What's up, baby? How you is? It's
He says, "What's up, baby?"
yeah, it's a corner clamp. Just for the record, it is a corner clamp.
Truck. So then it's good to go for tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah, corner clamp, framing clamp. They're this. It depends on what part of the world you live in.
Yeah. Well,
What country?
I call it a framing square because it's for framing and it's square.
You can't have too many of those either.
No.
It's nice to have 4 of them.
It helps.
It helps to have 4 of them.
Somehow I only have one.
I only have 1 on my table right now because I just brought the 1 over. But I'm looking.
That's because you're not square, Charles.
Well, I've been called worse.
Just give me 1 sec. Just give me 1 sec because I know I grabbed something and I forgot to bring it over.
Hello.
Imagine that.
What's your face, Shaylee?
Hello, Shaylee. And Charles, hello.
Hello, sir.
It's also handy to have a band.
Hello.
Mr. Daring.
Hello.
So we have strap clamp,
So it's called a band clamp.
band clamp, strap
Thing is,
clamp.
Just one time in band clamp. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
For one time when I was band clamping, that it keeps everything square. It doesn't matter the size, the rectangle, the squareness of it. As you pull it tight, it squares itself up.
Yeah, you can. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. You can use something like that on even like an octagon shape.
Yep, on odd shapes like polygons, hexagons, octagons.
You can slide those clamps along the strap. So yeah. Hello.
Yes, Jay. You need more clamps. All kinds of cool clamps. And
Okay, well, I got to go help do some schooling.
why'd you even get on?
Huh?
Why'd you even get
Because
on?
mommy was teaching. Mommy was teaching, and now they both need help. So I'll be back.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, Jameson. Okay, so back to simple framing. Now, the thing is that it's always nice to have extra pieces of frames around. Now, what I do, the quickest, simplest way to do a square frame. Put your one piece in your. Okay, what are we going to call this? We're going to call this a framing square, or
I'm a corner frame clamp. Correct.
Okay, frame clamp. We're going to call this a frame clamp. Put one piece in your frame clamp for your length side or your width side, doesn't matter. You need a spacer in your other one because basically all you're going to do is overlap them. It doesn't matter how far overlapped you go with them. You can have them right up tight or whatever. You're going to want to cut your piece extra long to begin with. That wasn't an oil filter wrench, Josh, because it's got 4 separate pieces on it. An oil filter wrench is a ring, and they usually come in 3 different sizes, unless you get the multi-use ones, which are actually self-clamping on them.
Well, some of the oil filter wrenches, just for the sake of conversation, are like a hook and then a little arm off to the side. Just saying.
Yeah.
Back to you, Scroller Man.
So, the simple framing. Now, if you want to just go with a straight 45-degree corner, straight 45 cut, basically put your combination square onto your piece and square it up. I stupid hate these.
You don't even have hands.
Right there, like that. And then all you do is draw your line on there.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would be a butt joint.
Draw your line on there, and then run it through the scroll saw and cut it off.
There you go.
Now, I'm going to do this right quick for you, just so you can't see what I'm doing, but you'll understand the concept. I'll just show it to you after in a second here.
Josh, I know how to make frames. It just takes me all day. That's why I let people like you do it.
that. So
That's the number.
the reason you want a spacer on the back on the backside one is so that they're overlapping, and that way when you take them off, well, I guess it doesn't matter which way I show it to you. You take them off, they do an exact matchup.
Yep.
Exact match, because you're cutting both of them at the same time on the same angle. Now, if you want to get fancy, do the same thing. Do the same thing. And you can do fancy lock corners. Boop.
Looky there.
Fancy lock corners, fancy little curvy corners.
Why don't you show us that, mister?
Boop. I just did the same thing. It's the exact same
hey,
thing.
There might be an idiot watching. I'm just trying to help.
Shay's like, what? So because you're using your scroll saw, you can go whatever pattern you want as long as both your pieces are on top of each other.
Yeah, and to back up what John's saying, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, John.
Go ahead.
To back up what he's saying, the reason why you want to overlap, especially if you're going to do like a fancy shape in there, is because you're literally stack cutting that particular spot. That way they fit right into each other. That
Yes.
is why it works, is because you're literally stack cutting it.
And the thing is with this frame corner clamp thing, if you're using the rails, they actually fit in perfectly into there.
Nice. Hello, John S.
Back this up a bit. They fit in perfectly. When you tighten them up, they stay nice and square on you for when you do your cut. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can always go and buy one of these.
Googly moogly, that's an old-fashioned miter box.
Now, this is an old-fashioned miter box, but it's brand new. I think I've only used this like 4 times. It's
now, because
brand
my
spanking
shop is filthy, right now I'm ordering corner clamps.
Now, the thing with the miter box, the standard miter box, comes with a miter saw, comes with a miter tray. The miter tray has cuts pre-marked on them already. You got a 90, you got 2 22s on left and right angles, and you got 45s on left and right angles. Right here, 45s. And you also got a 45 on this end as well. So depending on how you want to cut your frames and your wood, you can actually just stick them in there. And if you want to get all fancy and technical, same thing as the other one, you can actually stack your wood at the same time. Stack your wood in there. These are tighteners. Basically, you just put it, find a slot where it fits in nice and snug, and turn it, and it keeps your wood snug down on there because they're oblong.
John, can I go back to your original? Yep. And I know I'm making a big deal out of it because I think the possibilities are endless. A disadvantage to you and I on the stack cutting the fancy corners, not just the 45s.
Yep.
Is the bigger kerf is going to have not as good of a fit. Now on a 45, that'll probably work, but those fancy cuts, if you get really fancy with them, using a flat blade would probably work best, I'm guessing.
You can use like one of the pack that I found here. They're like flat 0-0. I think they're pretty much double zeros the flat blades I found here, which are like puzzle blades, which would be the best. You can still use the spiral blades because that's all I use. That's all I've ever used, and they work really good for me too.
Yeah, I don't know how to use flat blades. Hello, Stace.
And
sorry for interrupting, but I thought that might be a good thing to talk about.
And on YouTube, there are lots of tutorials and videos and everything else how you can basically just use 2x4s, and if you want to you can put extra. I'm gonna call them. I just had the name in my head. Basically, put an extra slot in the end, and put a cookie in there, or the darker color wood just to offset it. A spline in your frames as well, or if you want, you can do fancy mortise cuts in your corners and spline that up. You can put if you want, you can do a fancy design. I would probably use 3 layers though. I would use both my 2 corners and then my alternate darker layer underneath of it, so that you can do a fancy inline spline, which will match up to your corners as well. So the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely.
For
yeah,
frame.
it's definitely a bonus for those of you out there that are good at flat blades. Sorry that I keep interrupting, John, but
No, it's fine. It's fine. We need all the input we need, as much input as possible.
The possibilities are freaking endless on how many shapes you could put in there. That's why I'm excited about the potential.
Yeah, and like I've seen frames that have like they're basically puzzle cut pieces. You basically line them up together like that,
Yeah.
and you just do like a puzzle piece to join the two of them together.
Yeah.
Using alternating colors or whatever have you.
Yeah, I think contrasting woods would look the best, in my opinion.
Contrasting wood. That's the
word. To me, I think that would be the selling point for doing those different whatchamacallits shapes.
Ava, Charles, you need to use smaller blade bandsaw or chainsaw. There's lots of videos on YouTube on frame making, on mortising, on making dados and rabbit cuts on your table saw, for example. And they're quick and easy, and you can use a sled. You can use a sled, a small part sled. I have a framing jig for my table saw sled that I got from Nick Ferry. When I made my table saw sled, there's an extra jig that goes inside of 245, so you can do frames right on there as well. Just clamp right in place, run it through the table saw, done. Gives you an exact 45. But like I said, Scrollsaw is the quickest. Not the quickest, but it's the coolest way that you can make custom frame corners for your client.
Absolutely. We have a Midnight Joker in the chat, by the way. Did Herb leave us?
No, Herb's here. He's just muted right now.
Okay.
I was reading the chats from the other side.
Is there Ava's over in the chat. She says, I'll make a leather frame. Yeah, you can make whatever you want. But the frame is going to accent your piece, and basically your frame is going to draw attention to the piece, number one. But the piece itself is what you want to stand off. So when it's hanging on the wall, people are drawn to it because, if you're Charles, for example, it's like, wow, look at the size of that billboard on your little 8-foot wall. You got this huge 4-foot billboard on your 8-foot wall. It takes up half the wall, but wow, look at that frame. Those corners are awesome. That's a cool serpentine design on there with a cool inlay and everything else. And it's like it draws your attention to it, but your frame frames it in, obviously, but because it's a frame, and your frame frames it in because it's a frame, but it's going to accentuate your piece. So try and have your frame not like I said, don't have your frame too big, because I could have gone with the bigger frame for this train, but I wanted the train to stand out more than, like, for example, the airplane one. The bigger frame makes the smaller piece stand out more, whereas the smaller frame makes the piece stand out more.
Yeah. Hello, Dave McLernan has joined us out in the chat.
Dave's been here for a while. He was here before you were.
Sorry. At least I'm doing my job. Better late than never.
And like I said, you don't even need a full frame to go around your whole piece to make it stand out.
Why would you not need a full frame? What am I missing? Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's unique.
Yeah. Well, that's the wood if I could touch, right? Yes, it's rustic. And like I scroll saw a fancy edge on that just to make it stand out too.
Hello, Russ.
What's going on?
A whole lot of matter. John's teaching us.
Well, now you can learn a lot from John.
We're just doing quick little frames.
Okay.
Quick framing.
Always I suck on frames.
Yeah, me too.
And like you get fancy and do standoff frames. You can like I was saying earlier, with the wide 3-inch one for
Mhm.
shadow boxes, like I said, just do a rabbet on the bottom, put a slot in the top side here for your glass or plexi acrylic,
Mhm.
and you can actually have LEDs in. You can make a slot in the side of this for your ribbon LEDs to go into it, and that way when it's against your workpiece, it'll light up from the sides and looks pretty awesome too.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Stace says, everyone, I'm here, but I'm running from spiders. Nick, the Flaming Turner, says, is this the room for the free cookie? No, that was another show. Sorry. So, yeah.
So to sum up, quickest way to build frames, like I said, go down to your hardware store, pick up some edging, framing, moldings, whatever you want. Moldings are the quickest, easiest way for frames building.
Yep.
Chair rails. Like I said, I get all this tongue and groove cedar, just cut the edges off, strip them up, and this is usually what I build all my frames out of because I got lots of that. And like I said, you can either go fancy with a nice smooth side or rustic with the quarter saw side.
Rustic.
Me too, actually.
Rustic.
Sounds like me.
And like I said, I basically just run a bead of glue. Run a bead of glue down there. Then I'll usually pop a couple pin nails in. But when I run my pin nails in, I'll put them in on the inside, the back side right there, the back side of the top groove on a diagonal. That way you don't see them at all.
That's a unique damn shape.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers on these, but I'm pretty sure this is a chair rail. This is just a edge molding piece. This is a baseboard. So go down your hardware store and find some cool profiles that you think are going to make some cool frames. If you want to paint your wood, if you want to paint your frames, buy the MDF moldings. They're already shaped and pre-primed.
Eva, what Stace is saying, prop it up means lean it up against something just to hold it up, referring to how people hold their phones while they're doing a 2 hour something or other. And I was just clarifying. Eva didn't understand what Stace was saying about how people hold their phones for 2 hours to watch a show.
Oh.
And she was saying prop it up. She didn't understand prop. And Shaylee says she has to go to the store again.
Get a stand and prop it up.
Mm-hmm.
Your stand doesn't have to be that fancy though, but he's Canadian.
Well, because the thing is, like when I do some of my displays, when I used to do my displays down at the farmers market and stuff, like I said, I bought these at the dollar store. It's $1, and
Right.
I used to set them up and just set my work up in them. Dude. That's why I got this fancy.
Well, John's daring to be different. That was not square.
No, it's not square. It's obtuse.
My God.
But
I've been called obtuse. Go ahead.
But like I was saying earlier, some work doesn't need frames on it. There's no frame on this. That's just an oversized backer. And the thing is, to make it unique, like I said, the edge just stays in line from his nose to his horn, right? So I just try to keep that same profile just to make it stand out more.
What?
Do the washer trick on that?
No offense, but what is that?
It's a dragon.
Dragon, man.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a bird pecking something.
That's a dragon, and
sorry.
like I said, with fancy fretwork as well.
Good buddy.
Right? There's no frame on that. It's just an oversized backer.
That's pretty. Where'd you get that?
That looks good no matter what.
Where'd you get that design, mister?
This was out of one of the old Scroller magazines.
Dang it.
Like back in the 80s and stuff.
Cool.
So if you want to frame your work. If you want to, you can do it easy ways. You can do it hard ways. You can hire somebody, Josh, to do it for you. And there's all kinds of fancy ways. And like I said, your imagination is your limit.
And your income. and abilities. And
The only thing you gotta remember is to pre-plan if you're gonna put a frame around a portrait or something.
yeah, for border thickness. Larry says, John, do you use a thicker on that to be able to bang it up on the dragon? Ooh, what? Do you use a thicker on that to be able to bang it up on the dragon?
I think what he's trying to say is, do you use a thicker backboard to be able to hang up that dragon?
No. Where is it?
Yeah, he said bang. I think he meant to say hang.
So
Yeah.
this is this one was not meant to hang, but I can still put a hanger on it. But basically, so I got a quarter inch front piece, quarter-inch backer, which I stained different color. Oh, and by the way, if you're gonna stain your wood, stain both sides.
You never know what's going to show.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's actually nothing worse than looking at a finished piece on a table. And when people are going up to look at it and they see the nice stained front, they see the nice stained edge with a white back on it.
Yeah, sloppy back. Yeah. Here's your Mike says, how would you frame the circle one? And John S says rudder. That's an idea.
I got
a
a question.
frame the circle one. You can if I was to frame the circle one, what I would do is I would. You're lucky you have this prepped already. Take a piece of plywood, put your circle into it, draw your circle around it. Draw your circle on there, put a pencil line around it, and you want to bring your edge probably a quarter inch in. And I would just router my hole out, flip it over, put a rabbet on it with my router bit as well, and then go over however far you want for your frame edge. For this one, I would probably do a 2.5 inch frame on it just to make it stand out even more. This would actually look good on the ceiling as a ceiling sconce.
That would look good as a clock as well. And the hell was I going to say? Oh, Russoppotamus had a question for you.
Oh, I didn't know if y'all heard me just a few minutes ago before you started answering these questions. I said a couple things under my breath, and I wasn't sure if the microphone picked them up.
What are they?
I thought you said I have
if y'all didn't hear it, I ain't going to repeat it. I'm in the Lowe's parking lot, and there was a good-looking woman that passed by.
Oh.
Well, I
heard it.
Let's leave it at that.
I thought he said I thought he was saying I got a
No,
question.
that ain't what I said.
All right. Well,
I'd bang that up. So yeah, so basically, what I would do for a frame for this circle one is like I said, I would draw my circle, come in a quarter inch, router it out, and then put some fancy router edge on it as well. You can buy fancy router edges and blah 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 and everything else. There are videos on YouTube how you can make fancy Greek old style frames with even crown moldings just using your table saw. Just adjust your table saw on angles 3 or 4 times and do that. But
Eva says this ain't working too tiny, but it was interesting, John. I can't watch on the phone. Too tired. Go to the PC and have fun now, lads. Larry says, how would you put the hang on it? Because most of the time, my nails will split the plywood and come through the wood. And super glue, says Josh.
So you can super glue them on. You can epoxy them on. Most of my frames, most of my hangers that I use, I gotta dig them out. But basically, I'll pre-drill a hole into the frame itself because the frames are almost 3/4 inch thick. I'll pre-drill a 1/16 hole in. I'll put an eye bolt in there or cup hook, and then I'll put hanging wire across the back. That way, when it's hanging on the wall, it stands off the wall on a slight angle, like that, because your hooks will be out here. But you can put rubber stoppers on the bottom to level it off as well.
Yeah.
And I use cup hooks or hangers in the frame itself, not the project, because if you drill too deep, you're going to go all the way through.
Yeah, I think that's what he was referring to. You could also use a sawtooth hanger or a little D-shaped thingy, as long as you measure the center of the frame.
Yeah, there's all kinds of hanging materials for it, sawtooths, and I do prefer using the hanging wire though, because if you're in a rush and you don't measure dead center of where your sawtooth goes in, your sawtooth's on an angle like just a hair, like a 16th off. It's when you hang it on the wall, it's going to be off like that. That's why you always use That's why I always use hanging wire. Tie the ends on. And that way, when you go to put it on the wall, you can always adjust it over, and it'll hang proper.
Exactly.
Yes. If Larry, if you're gonna put nails in, always pre-drill your holes. Doesn't matter what kind of wood you're using. Even if you're using 2x4s. On a finished product, you always want to pre-drill your holes. Then you can hammer your nails in. Finishing nails, pre-drill your holes, put your nails in.
Well, when he's referring to coming through the wood, I think he's referring to when it doesn't have a frame on it, and I ran into that way back. I never thought of super glue because I didn't trust it. But yeah, I think he's talking about without frames because the project with the background it isn't thick enough for traditional nails.
Yeah, super glue or epoxy, or if you want, just to accentuate your workpiece a little bit more. Let's take this one for example. I would probably cut out those two, like that outside edge there. I'd probably cut those all the way through. That way you can stick a nail on the wall, hang it on the wall.
Shaylee says, so informative. Now I have to make a frame for my Project 25. Larry says, I have a few pieces now. I need to put hangers on and no frame, but confused about how to put their hangers.
There's no frames on them, so give me a sec.
Okay. Please stand by. Please continue standing by. Your comments and views and questions are important to us. Please stand by.
We'll get to you in a timely manner.
In the meantime, here's some yodeling. You little lady. Sorry. Hurry up, John. I'm running out of material here. Welcome back.
All right, Larry, are you ready for this? This is the big cheat. Go down to the dollar store, Dollar Tree, Dollarama, Dollar Giant, whatever you guys have down there. Pick up one of these little kits. It has wall hanging hardware, these little bent hooks, right? It comes with the nails for them. Comes with the nails for them. It comes with...
That's for the wall.
It comes with sawtooth hangers. It comes with little nails for the sawtooth hangers, which are great.
Or you can use the super glue.
Yeah, or use super glue or epoxy.
I don't trust that stuff. I mean, it may work, but I don't trust glue. You know, if it comes off, you got to a piece on the floor.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how heavy it is.
So it comes with these tiny little half-inch brass nails as well for your sawtooth hangers. Mm-hmm. And it also comes with these little hooks.
Eye hooks. And they're threaded. Screw them down there.
And they're threaded on the ends. Now, like I said, what I usually do is I'll pre-drill my hole. I'll thread these in and use a pair of needle nose pliers or a pair of pliers, but make sure you grab the bottom edge and don't over twist it. It'll come right off.
And the reason why you are pre-drilling your holes is so you do not split the wood. Back to you,
yes, so you don't split the wood. And also use, if you don't have...
Always pre-drill your holes smaller than the diameter of what you're screwing in.
If you don't have, I'm looking for my knocker spacers. Over here.
While John's looking, I have a quick piece of advice. Anytime you want to decide what size screw you're going to use, hold a drill bit. I mean, what size drill bit you're going to use. Hold the screw behind the drill bit. You should only be able to see the threads. That is the size drill bit you will need. Back to you, John.
If you when you're pre-drilling your holes, get your drill bit, usually a 1/16. Put a piece of tape on it. It's called a flag tape, and it's basically just green tape, brown tape, blue tape, whatever color tape you have. Masking tape will work. Just mark it at the depth you want. That way, when you drill, you don't go past that. If you want to go one step further, pick up these. They're called drill bit collars, and you can actually set them to the depth that you don't want to drill any further. They all come with Allen set screws on them and an Allen key. They're all the same size, and they work anywhere from 1/16 up to 1/2 inch. So and they're quick and easy because all you do is loosen your set screw off, get the depth you want, tighten it back on. And that way your drill stops at that depth.
Measure 3 times, drill once.
Yeah. And since you're at the dollar store, well, you can get those at the dollar store too, by the way. Since you're at the dollar store, pick up some hanger wire because it's cheap, and it's actually aluminum, and you can basically just cut extra off the length you need. And I'm going to show you real quick. Is that so? Pretend my pinky is the eye bolt. Put it through and around, and basically just you don't have to do fancy knots. Just give it 4 or 5 spins. That's all you need.
And if you're doing a drill steering billboard, look at the weight rating of the hanging wire you're using.
Yeah, because I got this, and I also got a braided wire that I use as well for my heavier stuff. It's on my desk somewhere. So, any other questions?
Will you marry me?
No, I'm already taken.
Fine.
Hey, John, when I first started cutting mine or putting hangers on it, I'd put a little spacer behind my sawtooth. And
wait, hold on a second. I'm going to put you on. Okay, what?
I said I'd make a little spacer, scrap piece of wood, and then put my sawtooth through it.
So that he would not break.
So I wouldn't come through. I did come through a little bit on this one because this was like one of my very first projects, but not as bad as if I would have nailed them straight in. Another one for the thicker stuff is the sawtooth that's got the little teeth in the ends. You line it up in the middle and then hammer it in, just making sure you got enough space behind it where you can still get it on a nail.
Or a hook. Josh Grover says, Charles, for your billboards, you would need a 1/2 inch steel cable. That is funny. Larry says, thanks, John C. and Charles, and I'll add to that, Engine Funky Monkey and Russopotamus. I don't think he's going to like that name either.
No, not really.
Dag blabbit.
Weirdo.
I should just try calling you Russ.
Just say Russ.
Because I don't know why I can't say Russ, because I call you Wes and Herb and everything else.
Yeah.
Jason Richelov is leaving us, not leading us. I'm not leading us, that's for darn sure. Josh Kelly.
That is Mr. M.
So I'm hoping I answered everybody's questions. And if they got any more questions, just PM me, message me, whatever. I'll let you know. I'll do another video or whatever.
Or ask here on the chat.
Or ask here on the chat if you're still on the chat. If the video's still running. Does anybody else have any other framing information that they'd like to give out? Except Charles, because Charles doesn't do frames.
Well, would you like to do all my frames for completely free and cover the shipping?
I showed you quick and simple ways to do frames.
You didn't pay for the materials.
What's that?
You didn't pay for my materials, though.
What do you mean?
To make all the frames. Have you seen how many pieces I need to frame?
Yes. Do you know how many empty barns that are falling apart out in the fields out there? that everybody wants
Yeah.
barn board frames. That basically, technically, all you got to do is go up and talk to the farmer and say, "Hey, your barn's falling apart. Can I just grab some boards off of it?" A lot of the guys will say, "Yeah, go ahead."
I don't get out very often, but yeah, I do
Just
that
don't-
when I see it. Go ahead.
But I do know that in Canada, if the building's fallen, as long as the roof is still in one piece on their property, they can still claim it as a taxed building.
Yeah.
Believe it or
Stay says, good night, lads. Josh is saying, key thing with frames is make sure your pieces are the same size. Yeah. Kaylee says, I probably have questions when I go to do it. Ha 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 ha.
Shaylee will always ask questions.
Hey, John.
That's how we
When I was inside, I did hear you talk about the puzzle plaques or the puzzle frames.
Yeah,
Steve Good's got patterns on those.
Yep, I also saw one of my woodworking magazines. I seen four quick and simple ways to build frames, and they're actually pretty cool looking frames too. With contrasting colors, like with a Chinese, cool Chinese looking overlaid border and everything else. And it's actually pretty. It looks difficult, but it's simple and quick to do.
Amen. Larry says, have fun, guys. Talk to you later. Prayers.
See you, Larry.
Rush, you look way too excited.
Well, I'm sitting in Lowe's parking lot and just enjoying the scenery.
Have you ever thought a lot of soccer moms? Have you ever considered going in the store? I'm just wondering, might be a little more.
Yeah. They're like, well, why you sit in the parking lot? You should go into the store.
I've been in the store. Now I'm sitting in the parking lot.
Because
I saw y'all were on, and I decided to partake.
Yeah, if his life is anything like mine, so to look at everything. Hey, I used to be a dumbass. That's a promotion. You're welcome.
I don't know.
See that.
I've always asked people that question. Well, what would you prefer? Would you prefer me to be a dumbass or a smartass right now? It's your choice.
If that was my show, he would just say scroll on because there's not a good answer for that.
Yeah, I just say you just be you. No, but I actually came into the store to one of the things I came in for was to get some green paint to paint the Hulk that I carved.
Yeah, buddy.
All I got to do left is paint him and then glue him on, and he's ready to go.
Poor fella's so used to carving, he said carve.
So you're going to paint him instead of the kids or the grandkids?
Now I decided I'd go ahead and do it and just send it to them because they're not going to get it right. And it deserves to be as right as it can be, so I'm going to go ahead and finish. I've already painted the backer and set it on, but when I couldn't find what I considered the right color of paint, but I bought some a little sample size of some Valspar shallow green was the name of it. And when I held it up next to the picture on the Marvel website, that's the closest I could come to it.
You know, one of the main reasons I mean, there are a lot of beautiful colored stains out there, but one of the reasons I have not partaken, if that's a word, I know partake is a word, but partaken in it is because if you only stain the top and not the sides, it looks generic. But staining the sides is a pain in the behind. And
this was painted the whole way. So
yeah, Josh says you're painting the wood rust. Isn't that a sin?
It's not a sin in this case because it's scrap Baltic birch that I picked up out of the dumpster. It's not real good wood and stuff. So I prefer to paint that.
And it's for his grandson.
No, if I could have found a green stain locally that they already had mixed up that was pretty close, I would have tried it, but I don't think it would have turned out good.
I tend to use spray paint, but I do it the hard way by having to mask off everything I want. I don't want the color of the spray paint, and that can take a little while.
Oh yeah, well this is like I said, this is cut already. It's 1/8 inch thick, and all I've got to do is lay it down and paint it. I don't have to mask off anything because everything's gonna be the same color.
Food coloring and alcohol.
I got one more thing on your wiring. So, like I said, you can pick up this aluminum wire at the dollar store. It's good for like smaller projects, probably nothing larger than a 12 by 12. like depending on your weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
I found my braided wire as well. It's pretty durable, and it ties on the exact same way. Basically, run it through and just put like three or four twists into it. It's pretty durable. I'm pretty sure it'll hold up to 300 pounds.
Yeah,
if you want to get more
sorry, I was going to say braided wire is definitely stronger than straight wire. It's like comparing a piece of twine to a rope. It's, you know, the twist makes it stronger. Sorry, just trying to help.
And then if you want for your heavier billboards, try and go with the stainless steel wire. It comes in a roll. It's like $5 for like a 50-foot roll, so it's pretty cheap still. It's coated so it doesn't rust on you. And if you're gonna hang like 1/2-inch thick materials up, so if you got a 1/2-inch front and 1/2-inch backer on it, pick up some baling twine or rebar wire.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $6 for a steel roll.
And then all you gotta do is double that up if you have to and twist it.
But Josh Grover
make it even stronger and pick up and hold even more.
Yep. Josh Grover says, you're painting wood, Russ. Isn't that a sin? And you're not going to hear the end of that one, sir. Josh says, Herb, would you use food coloring and rubbing alcohol? You could pretty much do anything, whatever works for you. A lot of time what people will do, believe it or not, I don't know the particulars because I haven't tried it, but there's YouTube videos. If you want to try to make some wood look aged or have a brown tinge to it, and you don't have any stain available, coffee or tea or something similar will work.
You can even actually just run out in the backyard and grab some soil and rub it right into it too.
Yeah, but don't waste Dr. Pepper on it. You know, send that to Charlie. Use everything else brown.
Staining and tinting, that would be for another show, because I know there's all kinds of actually natural food that you can use for stains. I came across this one article once in one of the Scrollsaw magazines where they used like blackberries and blueberries, celery, oranges, carrots to get natural colors into their wood for baby safe, non-toxic, right? I'm not sure how that would work over time, because the thing is, I think it would rot over time. But
I'm not saying that I smoke a lot, but one time I needed gray and I didn't have anything handy. I used cigarette ashes.
Yeah, cigarette ashes.
Me and John got a little bit of those.
Driftwood look. It gives you that driftwood look. Minwax has.
Yeah, and you can also use vinegar and steel wool.
Steel wool, yeah, and steel wool. However long you leave it in the vinegar determines the darkness or the color.
See, because I know I was talking with Shay the other day, and I shared this with her. This is basically a quick Minwax chart of all, like some of the colors available for Minwax for staining your woods.
Yeah, the potential is awesome. I just don't have the patience for it. That's honestly the only reason. That's why I never got into watercolor. And then you got to be able to control that stuff.
I'm fine.
And then if you use the stains, it depends also on how long you leave it on the wood. A lot of times I'll set a timer, and the longer I leave it on the wood, the darker the stain will be. More absorbs into it.
Well,
see,
what were you saying, Russ?
I would just say, well, I do agree with Jameson that the longer you leave it, but then the more coat you put on as well. But
right.
Talking about painting or staining, I do agree. I like stain better, but staining and painting of wood, it depends on the wood.
Yeah.
If I'm using a real good hardwood or something like that, there's absolutely no way there's going to be paint going on that. It'll be stains all the way.
Well,
but if I'm using just a cheap scrap piece of lumber, then I'm more than likely going to paint it.
Yeah, some wood is flat out boring.
Yeah, like your Baltic birch, that's boring. And like I said, I found this piece of wood in a dumpster, and I took it out, and I've got a use for it now. But it's not stain grade; it's paint grade.
Yep.
And that's the reason why. But I do love to see the grain in the wood, so my first choice would be to stain if it's a good wood.
Yep.
Now tell him to get off my back.
Please get off Russ's back. Trust me, that's Russ in a good mood.
Because when I have Carrie in my shop and she's doing the staining, if I want it darker, I'll have her do another coat on it, another coat or two on it to get it darker.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also if it's your first coat and then you let it sit on there longer, it absorbs in those pores. And then when you go put the next layers on there, it doesn't have to go through as many pores.
That's also part
That's
of
what
why.
I've noticed.
That's also part of why you raise your grain.
Mhm.
Basically, get a damp rag, rub it over first, then sand it down because it raises your grain, opens the pores on it. When you sand it down, everything's already open after it's sanded, and then when you go to put your stain on, it'll go right into the pores.
By the way,
So
well, we have 8 people watching, only 6 thumbs up. Just saying.
Okay, so
I haven't given you one yet.
we can go back to framing for a sec because I just remember something.
See ya, Herb.
Herb says he's not feeling well. He'll see us later. Get to feeling better. Herb just says Russ can't watch the Lowe's parking lot. He's a security guy, and later Herb get feeling better.
Going back to framing, for unique frames and everything else, you don't even need an actual frame for it. I did this one for my daughter, and it was a dragon, a dragon yin yang sort of thing, and the offcut I used as the frame, and I used baling twine to actually attach the frame onto it. Can you guys see that?
Cool. Kind of like a floating piece. That's kind of nifty.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's much the same concept I was thinking of using for my my dream catcher. That's what that ring is for, by the way.
Nice.
Use some high tensile fishing line too.
Yeah, and that'd be less visible.
But
All right,
I wanted
It's time for me to go.
that look on it though.
Russ is leaving us. Thank you for being here, Russ. That means
All right, Russ, thanks a lot.
delay.
buddy.
Means I got to go do some work. I'll see y'all
Yeah,
fellas later.
blab it. Be good, sir.
It means
See ya,
going home.
Squiddo.
You can't come back on.
Stace says, "I thought you were finishing."
Finishing what?
I don't know if she means completing or putting a finish on something.
I'm finishing. I'm finishing. And
And look, John has an actual photo album.
like this one, for example. This is actually so I cut the front out. The backer is actually spaced from the bottom with this one because there's a candle behind this. There's a tea light candle holder. This
Cool.
sits right on the table.
For
So
you
they're
idiots, that is a butterfly or a flutterby or a butterfly
Flutterbee.
or that too.
And there's another one there. There's no frame on that. That's basically an oversized mirror, acrylic mirror.
Oh, Stace said she thought we were finishing the live. That's why she said good night. I thought she was just had to go because she's in the UK and they're late. We're still here, Stace.
Looking for different framing stuff.
Do you have any Charles Deering pieces? I wish I could find that circular design you showed us. Dang it!
I do have a Charles Deering piece. I
Ruin.
sent it to Cherie Epler, actually.
Sherry Epler.
Cherie
Sherry.
Epler.
Is it Sherry?
It's
Oh.
Sherry. She's my neighbor up in Missouri, the state of Missouri.
Stace says it's 7:48 p.m. Not that late. That's true.
Because I made that for her. I gave that to her.
Cool.
Sweet.
That was when she was doing when she was doing those Steve Good knobs for her scroll saw. Where's that? Where's my Charles Deering portrait I did?
Yeah.
Right there.
That is freaking stunning.
And that's just an oversized backer, no frame on that one.
We should buy from Charles Deering. Where can we go to do that, Joe?
Actually, isn't that yours too, Charles?
Yes, sir. That was
There you
on. I donated that on Steve Good's blog.
Yeah, and that one actually has the cedar border on it that I basically just did a half lap on the corners.
That's very cool. Where can you get Charles Deering designs, John?
Oh, you can get Charles Deering designs at woodenvision.com.
Thank you.
And if you want to get fancy, it's not really fancy. That's just an oversized frame, oversized backer on that I just leveled it off the bottom edge.
Yep, and the rest of it looks epileptic but cool. And the power of love is two turtles doing things. And Josh says that's not a billboard, though, John.
No,
not every design I has. Yeah, not every design I have has to be on a billboard. It doesn't hurt though.
They could be billboards, and for example, if this piece here I actually made that into a box.
What is that? A little girl walking or something?
It's a girl in a field holding a teddy bear.
Aww.
I made that for my mom, but I actually made it into a box so that she could put. And I filled it with butterflies for her and flowers.
That's so precious.
Yes, and you can even make fancy photo albums out of your Scrollsaw work. Ooh,
looky there. That's if you still make photo albums.
Well, who doesn't want a photo album?
And still print out your pictures.
That's why I got a photo printer over there.
All I gotta do is go upstairs.
So, what else have y'all? What else do y'all have?
I have herpes.
On the go. Charles, are you doing?
We know that.
I'll do one eventually. I've already made the thumbnail, but I haven't created it yet. Stace says
it's not manga.
It's not manga. What the hell's manga?
It's Chinese art.
Oh. Well, I just ordered a set of 4 clamps that I couldn't afford because I don't trust myself.
Did you get those square clamps or those framing squares?
The corner clamps, yes. I have one just like what John's holding up, but God knows where they are. So rather than look for them, I'll buy more because it's just money. Yeah, I'm broke.
So I don't know if Shay is still on. So as for gluing your corners on, you can glue. What I usually do is I'll like I said, I'll basically have my cut straight down, measure to your inside corner. That's where your cut's going to be from, depending on the size of your frame, and always give it an extra eighth of an inch.
She's here.
That way, you'll see on this side, you get a little bit of gap on there. And on the top as well, there's a little bit of a gap. It allows for expansion and contraction of your backer wood and your frame wood to expand and contract.
And Josh, sorry.
Go on.
I was just reading comments. Josh says, Charles, say it's your Christmas present. Well, that doesn't help. I paid for it. I'm out of money. And
so when I go to glue these down, I'll put the glue inside my frame edge, lay set my band clamp around it, boop, 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 all the way around, give it a little squeeze, put the glue on, put the backer in, put glue inside, wet your frame first with a damp rag, wet your frame first, put your glue on because it'll raise it because it's end grain, and that way the glue will suck into both the end grains at the same time, suck it together using your band clamp. And
I hate it when you give good advice. It makes you sound intelligent. And
then when I do it, well, one step before that, put a 2x4 or 2x6 underneath of it to raise it up off the table, because you're going to want to allow room for your band clamp to go around there to sit on the table, number one. And number two, right after you glue it, put a clamp onto it.
Yep.
To hold it down, to keep it nice and flush on the inside edge.
If you don't have any clamps, just use something heavy.
So Charles,
yeah, like a piece of concrete, decorative concrete,
decorative concrete,
or even non-decorative. Charles, what?
So Charles, you're saying I'm way too informative all the time, or what?
No, you're making me look bad with all this information. I just felt stupid on mine.
Well, like I
No,
told like I told Shay last night on one of the posts we're talking about, it's like I got all this knowledge that needs to get out, and the thing is like back in the day, nobody would share any knowledge in the Scrollsaw industry.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like everybody wants to know everything right now. So ask the questions, we'll give the knowledge out to you
Nobody
guys.
asks me questions. They think I'm not mature enough to answer them, but I am. I just don't.
See, but the thing with you is that you do have all those instructional videos, and
Oh yeah, I do. Sorry.
give me a sec.
Okay. Please stand
pressure's
by.
charging.
I have information. I don't always think of it all. So people have to ask in order for me to think of it, and then I'll answer it. But
You got all those instructional
see,
videos from like 4 or 5 years ago.
I do have some instructional videos on Charles Daring on YouTube. Back to you, John.
I heard Jamie was talking. Jamie was talking.
What the hell's this?
This is a framing square.
I just call it an L. John S. says, keep going, John.
Why is it called a square if it's triangle?
I've never understood all
Because
that.
it makes a 90-degree square.
Josh says, Charles, well, Ashley, Bubba's sister way. That's what he meant.
Yeah, I got all my framing squares are over on the wall over there. I got all my straight edges are on the wall. My rulers, my levels, my speed squares are over there. My compasses are over here. My combination squares are over here. Oh, and if you want to get fancy with your works and stuff, like if you want to have like odd shapes, get a bevel as well, a locking bevel, locking miter bevel, because it's great for checking your angles, and you lock it in place, and you can do multiple angles for all the way around. Basically, for math is quite easy anyway when you're doing multiple shaped stuff.
I hate math. Just saying.
But everything adds up to 360 degrees.
This
So
is
every square is 90-degree corners. And then you add one more for 5 for a pentagon. So you're taking 360 degrees divided by 5, which will give you your outside, and then you got to divide that by 2 for your inside frame edge. Or you take your 360 divided by 5 for your pentagon, will give you your 22 or 21 and a half, whatever degree angle, and then you just set your square and you mark all your corners at that.
And on a clock, you would divide it by 12 into 360. Just saying.
Oh my God!
What? I'm trying to help here, Sparky.
What is that?
Am I wrong?
It's a angle buddy. It's basically like it could be a trapezoid, or it could be a square corner, or whatever irregular shapes that you're trying to match up.
John, I'd like to file a complaint. That was a legitimate piece of advice. Why did I get that response? A clock has 12 numbers, so you're going to divide it by 12 to get the angles. So you make sure the numbers are in the right spots. What was that incorrect, sir?
Well, no, you're going to divide it by 360. So 360 divided by 12, I suppose.
I said that. Yeah.
Oh.
I said that. You went.
Well, no, because you threw me off. You're like, that's like, do you remember? Do you remember what's the name of the couple? I can't remember the name of the couple. They got a series on YouTube, and she's the densest woman around I know of, because the question started off as, if you're traveling 80 miles a kilometer down the road, how long is it going to take you to go 180 kilometers, right?
A long damn time, because we use miles here. Just saying. Go ahead.
Okay,
Unless
if you're traveling
in
80 miles,
unless you're in the Gallus.
Right? If you're traveling 80 miles down the road, how long is it going to take you to travel in 1 hour, right?
Yeah, I agree, Stace. She says, "Why make it sound so hard with all this wizardry called math?" I freaking
I know.
hate
That's what I'm saying. I was just trying to boil it down. But so there's that first video, and the second video was, if you order a large pizza and you cut it, and you can eat the whole pizza you cut it into 8 or 12 pieces, can you eat the whole pizza? So, well, I can't eat 12 pieces. Well, but you can eat 8 pieces.
Yeah,
it's the same size pizza.
Yeah, that would make you an idiot break. Josh says 2 little lines past 360 degrees divided by 5. And John S. says this is interesting, by the way.
The reason we came to this is because the next one is her husband's like, oh, it's so hot out. Well, temperature is just like a plate because it's only 360 degrees. If it's only 90 degrees out, it's not that hot because you're only a quarter past the edge of the plate, right? You still
John,
got all the other...
Go to your room. Just bloody hell. I've never had to send John to his room on his own show.
Hey,
you
John,
were doing so
Charles.
well. Yes. Oh, wait. You called me John?
Well,
I've never gotten the name wrong once on my show. Repeatedly, yes.
It's for both. It's for both.
What's for both?
Because you were talking about clocks and
12 degrees.
John's been talking about math and all that fun stuff. At least he's not using the core math. But anyways,
coming for
my wife just finished up her second round clock, and pretty much all she did was split it into quarters because she was just using the 4 main numbers.
Yeah.
She just split the circle in quarters with the 12 up top, the 6 in the bottom, the 3 and 3 and 9.
And Josh Grover says, John, you're wrong. And ironically, Josh, it's YOU_RE. So you are wrong too. You're welcome, John. I got your back. I got him back, buddy. He's scared, man.
Yeah,
he's scared. He's so scared right now.
But there's all kinds of fancy contraptions and stuff out there that you can use to get your angles and stuff. But you don't really need to use them unless you're doing a lot of work with them. For example, you have a combination square, which gives you your 90 and your 45. By the way, it's also got an OG on here as well if you want to do fancy curves and stuff. And a little known fact is in the end here, there's an actual pin. There's an actual pin for marking.
What? I had not known that.
And there's a level on it too for when you go to put your frames up on the wall. Just set it right on the corner, and you can actually level it up with level. Because I'm pretty sure,
so cool.
Yeah. See, because this one's got one in it too. I'm pretty sure all of them have them in.
I've never ever seen a pin in the end of it. By the way, now y'all know why I'm not on camera because Sexy went away a long time ago. Go ahead, John. I know.
And also, this is a fancy combination square because it does a lot of different things.
Now, it also has got the center finder on it.
Yeah, so you got your 90, your 45, you got your OG, you got your pin there, you got your level. And the thing is, these all come off for your different lengths and stuff. This is a center finder for anything. Yeah, 4x4s, 4x6s, circles, rounds, whatever have you. You basically just stick it on there, and it gives you the dead center of your piece that you're working with. It's double-sided too, so it doesn't matter which side you put it on. And it also comes with a protractor as well. So you set your angle for whatever degree you want.
Sorry, something stuck in my throat. Shaylee says, now I have to see if I have a pen. I don't think I have a pen. Just saying.
So it comes with a compass protractor as well. To set your angles and a level. So there's a level on there, and there's a level on the 9045, the combo one as well.
Very cool.
All right, John, I got one for you for hanging pictures to show. Since we're doing show and tell, it's called the Hang-O-Matic. It's got a ruler on it. It's got 2 pins on the back. And you would put this one, and you would measure up the size of your
frame,
or wherever your pinholes are, or whatever you need to measure. And then it's also got a level on the middle there, so that when you go to hang it on the wall, you know that your picture is level. But all you do is you just push those pins into the wall. It gives you a little dents into the drywall, and then you could drill your holes if you're going to put screws in the wall, or those little hangers for if you're doing a big long wire, the picture wire that you were talking about, stuff like that.
Thank you for that, Monkey Man.
But
I
what
was just trying to help out.
No, that was a sincere thank you.
there's
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I was just
there's all kinds of gadgets and stuff you can use. When honestly though, when I do my frames up, if they're at least 18 inches wide, then they're perfect to hang between studs, because most studs are 16 inches on centers or 12-inch centers. That way, you know you're going to hit at least 2 studs.
I'm a stud and I'm 16.
Keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
Lawrence wants
this
to
is
know
what
about
I used to. I got this at Amazon.
Amazon.
But this is what I use to hang my grill with the cars on it on my wall in the shop, because it's got the holes where they would screw into the front of the truck, and I just put the 2 pins on it, stretched it out to where I needed it, found the studs, and it worked right in there.
John, how are babies made?
What kind of babies?
I wasn't prepared for you to add to that.
If you're talking about baby fish, then the female lays her eggs in the water, and the male goes over and does his thing.
You're not supposed to take my joke seriously. I wasn't prepared to have a follow-up.
Snakes are different. Kangaroos are different.
Holy hell.
Is it a live baby or an egg baby? Depends whether it depends whether they're in a clutch or in a litter. Whether they're mammals or a reptilian or
People.
Aquatic. Yeah.
Well, mommy and daddy love each other.
John knows a lot.
So does Charles. I just hide it really well.
And one more thing, just to touch on a couple things. It's nice to have a variety of tools in your shop, but you don't have to go out and buy everything all at once, Shay. You basically just get a nice combo square. Get a regular square. You don't really need a speed square. It's nice to have a nice right angle square. This is a small one, by the way. It's a small square. And you can get
Framing square.
Yeah, framing squares. You can actually build a house with one square.
And nails.
With all the measurements that are on it. And the bigger one that I have has all your pitch and it's got all your pitches and everything else on it for your hips and your roofs, your pitches and your everything on it. So basically, if you got a really good square, you can build a house, a framing square. You can build a house with it.
But you need wood and nails and stuff
all
too.
that.
And they all come in different sizes. You know, you get babies. There's even one smaller than this. This is a 6-inch one. I actually got a 3-inch one around here somewhere as well. I use it for squaring out my blade on my scroll saw. 12-inch one. I got an 18-inch. I got a 24-inch one. It's like saws. I got like a dozen saws of different sizes too. Speed squares are always helpful for drawing straight edges on your wood. You're doing rough cuts and ripping.
Yeah.
Larry, nice one. The less you know, the better off you are. Well, if you got lots of money, people can pay you stuff to do your jobs for you, Josh. And so
I don't have a lot of anything except for Dr. Pepper, except yesterday. Anyway, back to you, Jim.
And it's always nice to have a couple of rulers. If you can, try and get a steel ruler or an aluminum ruler. Aluminum rulers are nice because they're light, and you can actually, they're usually like $3 for $1 at the dollar store, and you can actually curve them around stuff. And the string back up on you.
Bloody hell.
Steel rulers can also be used as fairing sticks. If you don't know what a fairing stick is, it's when you want to curve, like you want a nice gentle curve on a piece that you come down about a 1/2 inch or so. You basically put 2 nails in, and you actually one nail at each end and a nail in the center, and it actually bends to your curve, and it's a perfect ellipse. But steel rotors are good because you can use your craft knife right against the edge. Keeps it nice and smooth as well. Also,
hey Larry, to go back to what you were asking, since you don't get Amazon, just look up Hang-O-Matic and you can find it anywhere. I found it at Lowe's and a few other places. So
also
go ahead, John.
Also nice to have is a drywall square because they're 4 feet long. If you get a metal one, like a stainless steel one, it rust on you. And these also make nice fairing sticks as well. Because like I said, as long as you pin your 2 points in your top center point, it'll give you the exact ellipse on both sides. So it'll be the same on both sides. Doesn't matter where you put it on at.
I just got an email. Somebody said, I placed an order 3 weeks ago and still do not have it. This is why I made my post on Facebook. Just saying. Bloody hell. Sorry. Back to you, John.
Framing squares are nice to have too, depending on the size of work you're doing. But it's all basically trial and error. If you need something, go pick it up. Because they're cheap tools to begin with. And you can put the money into brand names, Irwin, Stanley, DeWalt, whatever have you. If you want, you can buy. If you want to put money into something, buy Woodpecker. Woodpecker is all laser cut, laser engraved, perfectly dead on square 90-degree angle stuff. I actually don't have any Woodpecker stuff in my shop. It's red. And
some of the cheaper crap does go out of square, and so you do get what you pay for. So
yeah, especially if you drop them on your concrete floor or whatever.
That too.
But not sponsored. Woodpecker is pretty much the top of the line squaring materials, and each piece comes in its own case too. Starrett, yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
And Starrett.
Why am I not surprised I got that email? I'm just saying.
I said Starrett.
I was just clarifying what I was saying. Yeah, Woodpecker and Starrett.
Rock is a good brand because most of my stuff is Rock brand. Rock brand.
Never even heard of it.
Rock or DeWalt or Fat Pat. These are Fat Pats. DeWalt, Stanley. But if you want to put money into good quality squaring materials, buy some
Woodpecker. You just like saying Woodpecker. I love you,
Charles.
Yeah, go to my room.
Bucket.
Go to your room.
John, why did I get that email? I'm seriously stressing over it.
What are you talking about? Is it about your credit score?
No, it was. I placed an order 3 weeks ago and still do not have it. And people wonder why I created that post on Facebook.
Oh, that's why you put your post up? Well, I would check back. Do you do them personally, or does Steve do them for you?
It's automatic through the website.
Well, I would go back and check your records and make sure it went through, because if he accessed the code and he didn't save it to his hard drive, then it's his own fault.
Agreed, but I try to avoid telling people it's your fault. But it's pretty much what happened. He obviously didn't know you had to download a link and you got to click on it to actually download the device.
Yeah,
I actually had somebody ask me, if I download it to my computer, does it go away after a while? Because of frickin' Tom Taylor.
It does not. It does not go away.
I did not have you have 2 weeks to download this or it will self-destruct on your device after you've downloaded it. Good God on a stick.
So if you guys are having problems with downloads, and Charles, it's not just your site, honestly, because I know over at Bearwoods, over at another pattern download site, and also Cherry Tree, other sites that you download their patterns from. When you download them, they basically give you a code for it. You got like I think it's 10 business days to actually download it onto your computer. It'll download in your hard drive somewhere. Look for it, or
I got
open it up
two.
right
I
away.
got 2 freaking weeks on mine.
Open up in file when it flashes up. Open up file.
Exactly.
Save it to whatever pattern files you have on your computer on your hard drive, and it's yours.
I'm going to make a video because of all this crap. By the way, Midnight Joker Mike Kim is leaving us. Got to go. Catch you later. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for being here.
Thank
And
you.
the thing is that if you don't download it in 10 days, 2 weeks, 10 business days or 2 weeks, whatever have you. Well, see, because 10 business days technically is 2 weeks because it's 14 days, right? Because you get 2 weekends plus the 10 business days.
Yeah.
It's still technically 2 weeks. If you don't download it, it's your own fault.
Yeah, but I can't. As you well know, I can't tell the customer you're an idiot.
Well,
I'm
you
not
can.
gonna say.
You can because the instructions are straight and clear and they're right there all the time.
Agreed, but sometimes you got to spell it out. It's just frustrating because all it takes is one idiot starting a rumor, Tom Taylor.
But like I said, it's not just your site.
Mm-hmm.
It's other sites as well.
For anybody to think you would rent a pattern, for the love of Jesus. I'm pretty funny looking, and I'm not always serious, but I wouldn't be selling patterns this long if I did people like that. And I don't. I love rumors.
Even if you do rent the pattern.
I don't even know how to rent a pattern. God, I'd make more money if I
was going to say, I think the only way that I would rent a pattern is if, I was borrowing it from somebody else, but then that's not even right anyways.
Well, you're still not renting it, right? You're still borrowing it. And the thing is you still have,
right.
You photocopy it. It's like signing a book out from the library. You go photocopy pages out of it. You it's yours. It's yours.
Yep, Larry's going to prayers.
I thought Larry was going a while ago.
Yeah.
Did he come back?
I guess.
I thought he was leaving, and then we all said prayers to him. Prayers.
I said prayers. You didn't say nothing because you're too busy trying to educate people.
Larry's going to talk to us later. Guys.
Prayers.
Prayers. All right.
I miss Eva.
So, is there anything else anybody wants to know about? Charles, do you want to know about anything else that I do in my shop?
You never told me how babies were made. I'm just saying. About your shop. Oh. I have no idea, sir. Am I the only one on the panel?
No, Jameson's here.
No, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were teaching somebody something.
I'm letting you blabber.
Kiss my.
Like, I can show you fancy all kinds of stuff that people really don't use anymore that are hard to find. Like these, for example. These are called dowel points.
Yeah, I got those in my dowel maker from Milescraft.
You mean like on a lathe?
Nope.
Or what is the purpose of them? You put them in the end of a bowel. Not a dowel, not a bowel, because a bowel is poop, or where your poop comes from.
Okay, the purpose of dowel points, you can actually use them for lining up if you're laminating wood together and you don't have a biscuit joiner.
Oh, yeah. It makes a divot in the other side.
Then you can use dowels, and basically you grab your dowel, you find out which size point matches up to it, which is these are 1/4 inch dowel.
So you have a hole in one side, and you put that dowel center in there, and you poke it up against what it's going to be going in, and that little point makes a little point divot in the other side, and boom, that's where you drill your hole, the exact same size as the dowel.
Exactly. So same concept. I'm going to go one step further, though. So basically what you do, you get your wood lined up. Basically, you want center your wood, drill straight into your wood, your 1/4 inch size. And these are the better dowels to get. They're actually
fluted,
twisted,
fluted. They're fluted. You can buy ones that have little divots in them as well. And once you glue that one in place,
beveled on the end.
Yeah, when you glue that one in place, when you bring your other board up to it, you put your dowel point on it, you bring your other board up to it, and it makes a little point in the end, a dead center where you got to drill your next hole at.
And the reason why they have the little flutes in it is to hold a little more glue, more likely to hold into place. Back to you, John. And Herb Hooper says from Bump and Uglies. Snake says, 9 months later, baby rods are born. Josh says, Charles, how much do you rent a pattern for? How long do I have it before I have to return it? I don't
2
know.
weeks.
What's prepared to answer that. 2 weeks. God almighty. I'd make more money if I rented patterns. No,
You see, right now, all I'm doing is making Shay buy more stuff. These are countersinks.
Make her buy Charles Daring patterns, dag blabbit.
These are all countersinks. There's all kinds of different ones you can buy. These are for countersinking screws into wood because you always want to pre-drill your screws before you put screws in or nails in. And the thing with these is they all come preset with drill bits in. If you break a drill bit, not a problem because you can always replace it. Take out your set screw, put another drill bit in there. You basically only go down to where it starts to flute out to the even point, unless you want to go deeper, and then you can put plugs into it. If you put plugs in, then you got to buy a plug cutter.
The reason why you want a countersink is if you don't want the head of the screw sticking out above the hole it's in. Just saying.
Yep.
Back to you, Joe.
You can buy all kinds of fancy attachments for your impact. This one's a double-ended, so it's got the your countersink, your pilot hole, your countersink on the one end. Then you flip it over once you drill it, and you got your bit on the other side of it.
Or you can get one of those works drills that's got it where you flip it over.
Well, it's the same thing.
I really wish you
I
hadn't
know.
said that, Herb. Herb says, come over here and empty my bucket, so now I'm nauseous. That's wonderful.
And you can buy plug cutters. This is a plug cutter, but I actually have the bit in this as well for making oversized holes. But you just take the bit out, and it makes perfect plugs. And you use the exact same wood that you're using right now, like they build your frame or your box or edgings or whatever to fill your holes in with.
Or your contrasting woods.
Yeah.
For decorative looks.
I used them on my toy boxes that I was building. Fancy tools that nobody. Go on. Oh, let me go to you for a second then.
Here's a daggone light, but there's a dowel making, or not a dowel making kit, a dowel jig kit that you can use to either join wood together or to make shelves or even to put it in the center corners and shelves.
That almost looks like
with your wood.
A Craig jig bit.
Yeah, this is Miles Craft here.
Yeah. So Miles Craft is the lower end of Woodpecker actually, because it's made by Woodpecker. It's the lower end version, like Sears and Kmart, and Skill and Craftsman. And the thing is that they're affordable, and you can buy. They last longer. They last just as long, if not as long as you take care of them.
Josh, I will not read your comment. Herb Hooper says, "Not that bucket you're through thinking about, Charles. I was talking about my snuff bucket. Why would you want somebody to empty your snuff bucket?"
He's saying it is empty. He wants you to go buy him another one.
No, he said, "Come over here and empty my bucket."
Now I know,
or maybe his spittoon.
Now I know, stuff that is nice to have, but you'll hardly ever use is like I bought this probably 2 years ago. I've never used it.
That's something more that Billy could use.
I wanted it, but the only reason I got it was because of the divider inside of it. Now, calipers, see, look, it's still strapped. I've never used it. So
I actually, when it comes to measuring devices, other than tape measures, I don't know why, because I don't trust it on that, but I actually prefer digital because you don't have to guess and figure out lines. You just read the number.
So with calipers, you can check your thickness of materials,
or distance between things,
or depth of bowls and stuff like that. Also for checking your distance in your interior measurements as well. Or and I know you had a pantograph there as well, didn't you, Charles?
Yes, I did.
So as a divider, you can get set your point if you're doing multiple things. You want them exactly the same distance apart. Can you show your pantograph up there for a second?
Yes. Is this family friendly? I'm just kidding. Stace makes a shint and watch your mouth, ma'am. And Herb says I'm too lazy to get up and go dump it because I'm laying down. But yeah, I've never used this, but it's one of those things I got snookered into buying.
That's the same thing I showed for the angle finder, for the angle buddy.
And the thing
Mine,
you can also get like accordion arm pantographs as well. So you can do that one. Basically, is for resizing up to like for doing smaller stuff and resize it up to larger stuff for your router, for example. If you're doing larger patterns for your routers and stuff, you can do center point finders, pantographs as well for getting the exact distances. Basically, accordion style ones, you basically set your first point, set your last point. It just spreads out and gives you exact centers on all your pieces of work. If you're doing like lattice work or stuff like that. Anything else? Who else has useless tools?
I think the advertisement that I got that thing from was just for creating unique angles or matching unique angles. That's why you're able to. If you'd like to show me again, John, not my face, but what can you do? You would, hey, kiss it. Let's say you needed a unique angle. You set the angle and you tighten the little knob and it does not move. Oh my, I cannot move it. Well, that would be because I tightened the knob. I like knobs. Back to you, John.
But no, hold that back up for a second, though.
Yes.
yeah, and mine's aluminum.
Mine's plastic.
See, because that it is a type of pantograph that for enlarging your patterns and stuff too. If you're hand drawing them out.
Shaylee says, thank you. This newbie is learning so much, and I'm so glad you have Charles on the panel. I made up that last part. Jay, One Things AU says, who framed Roger Rabbit? It was me.
The guy that had the dip. Not the dip.
Yep.
And I don't know about yours, Charles, but mine also has degrees like 90, 75, 60, and 45.
Mine just has a bunch of numbers on it, no degrees. And so many lines.
Yeah, see, each
Well, this was one of those.
each of mine.
Josh, just go to your bloody room. And
Like there,
it's not little, it's tiny.
I can set mine at 45.
Neat. I don't have
See
any
that, John?
degrees in mine. Mine's more for matching angles than it is, or repeating angles than it is. Whatchamacallit? Degrees.
Yeah, see, mine's a little more high tech. Mine's aluminum too instead of plastic.
I'm sorry, I'm not rich like you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm a little joke there. It was just one of those advertisements. What the hell? I might use it someday.
And then you get all fancy stuff. I got digital calipers for checking the sizes of my blades and stuff like that too.
I like
digital calipers.
You need to keep a battery in it though. Mine doesn't work anymore for some reason.
Well, what you got to do, Charles, is take your battery out when you're done using it, so that the next time, and keep the battery close by, so that the next time you can put the battery in and it ain't dead.
Well, that whole close by thing is the problem. And Herb Pipper says, see you later, fellas. Get to feeling better, Herb.
See, because like,
Herb.
checking blade sizes, like my smallest blade, my 01, is basically 0.001 inches thick. Whereas an 03 or an 02, for example, should be 0.035.
Actually, it wouldn't be 0.001 inches. It would be 0.001 of an inch. Just saying.
Sure.
Yeah, you're less than
I just wanted to sound smart.
See, it's actually 0.0026 inches. So they lied. It's supposed to be 0.35, but they're actually 0.26.
Well, maybe you were doing it between the swirls on the twist. Just saying.
No, that's why I did it at the end.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of fancy stuff to have in your shop. Hey Jay, how come you haven't been on the last couple of days? What's up with that? Yeah, I
I don't know, but he did it live last night. I
I
didn't
was
get a
looking
chance
for-
to get on it though.
I was looking for him on Friday. I didn't see him.
He was feeding the hungry, sir. He was, I don't know, trying to make him feel good.
And the pin nailer I use is the same one I use for my stack cutting.
Mine is actually an electric one. I got in a pawn shop a long time ago. I have no idea even what brand it is, but it's held up for a lot of years.
See, because I got an air compressor, I just use my air one, and I just just lower my air down on my dial.
So
got
then
a 16 gauge and an 18 gauge nailer, which is also stapler too, which also works great for framing. Oh, for framing, if you want as well, if you want to cheat on your framing, you can go on the backside and you get waffle. They're called waffle nails.
I know exactly what you're talking about. They're like corrugated metal, little bitty things.
Yeah, do you have any with you right now though?
No, I've used them all and they got rusted. Who's your mic said? Oh, Jay, way to make you feel bad there, John. Jay says 2 funerals in one day on Friday. Who's your mic says, has anybody heard from Dennis lately? He commented on one of my posts yesterday, so he's still with us somehow. Jay says, wasn't on the right frame of mind or in the right frame of mind to do a live. I'll let John know when he has ears on again. And sorry for your losses, Jay.
Yeah, sorry for your losses, Jay.
John, at the risk of you regretting what you were joking about, Jay was at 2 funerals in one day on Friday. That's why he didn't do a live. Yeah, those are the corrugated. I think they're actually referred to as corrugated something or others.
See, I don't even have a name on these, but they're corrugated nails.
Yep.
For framing.
They're sharp on one end. I do.
And they come in different sizes, and you can also on the back side for putting your glass in. They're called point sets. I actually don't have any left. I ran out of them, and there's an actual tool that you can use to put your point sets in that'll hold your backer pieces.
I actually thought those were called glazing points, or I guess it could be a Canadian American difference.
Glazing points, and it comes with a fancy tool, and basically you just set it on your backer piece and I had right into the frame, right into the frame to hold your glass and your backer in place.
Yep. Glazing points.
Yeah, you can get those electric or pneumatic also.
Yeah, I had one of those, lost it in the fire. Dang, blame it. And John, do you feel like dirt yet because he was at a funeral?
No. Sorry, Jay. I didn't realize. I wasn't giving you crap. Life happens. Life happens. We can't always be, do our lives and stuff. And sorry for your loss. Unless we just went for the reception and the food. Because I know there are people.
He went to go hit on his cousins and stuff.
It's like
wait, that's family. That's family.
Hey, Uncle Daddy.
Sorry, Jay. I don't mean to make light of your situation.
Who's your Mike's asking? Has anybody heard from Dennis lately? Actually, Dennis commented on one of my posts yesterday, actually. So I know he's still around. He was on our show last week. He was still in pretty good health. He's just slowly recovering. I know he wanted to get back and do a video as soon as he could. He's still slowly recovering. He's still getting his strength back and everything else, but he's still in pretty good shape as far as I know. Like I said, I haven't talked to him this week, but I know he was on our show last week. And like when framing, if you don't have to frame all your work doesn't need framed. Just put it in a nice oversized backer. Like the bear, for example. I'm not framing that. I just got an oversized backer on that. And stuff that doesn't need, like, if you're doing like freestanding stuff on your table, just make a little slotted leg for it. That's all I did for that. How's this working? Here we go. Ooh.
Or a base.
Well, that technically is the base for it, right?
Right.
or if you're doing something fancy dancy.
Tommy's workshop has joined us, sir.
Fancy dancy.
How
Then
the
you
hell
don't
did you
need
do
a,
that?
you don't need a frame for that. What's that?
How did you
How-
do that?
How did I do that?
Did you just cut a slot in that little globe to get that little thing to go in there?
You can't cut
Oh.
glass like that.
How the hell did you do that?
Okay, so what I did, this was for a online contest through one of the scroll groups, because
Did you win?
some of the scroll groups have really cool contests all the time. But this was back in 2012 because I signed it and dated it 2012. This was a snowflake from Sheila Landry that she had in one of her free things, and I cut it out, and I'm like, well, that's just too simple. I'm like, I gotta do something fancy because
Yeah.
what if I could? So I did the snowflake base, and I wanted to have like a snow. I wanted to make a snow globe, so I actually picked up this globe, which is a light globe for your out exterior light. It's a smoke globe, and I cut these extra snowflakes. I don't know if you can see these snowflakes in there. So I cut the extra snowflakes, and I silicone them on and used fishing line to hold them in place, which was a pain in the butt because you had to go through the bottom there. And for this one here, I copied the curve of the glass.
Right. So you glued the other.
I glued the inside piece inside, and then I glued this piece to the outside to match up to it. And
That is freaking cool, dude.
I just
I don't
used
wanna-
silicone.
Oh, that is sweet.
I don't
I
want to
used
give you the
silicone for
impression
that.
that I'm impressed by anything you do, but that's freaking cool.
And I went one step further. I picked up this was an actual snowflake that I cut the edges off because it lights up.
Wow.
And I cut out a little piece in the center there to hold that in place.
By the way,
And-
to match that curve, I'm guessing you use a contour gauge, one of those little things that has like a comb or a little
Yes.
or what's it? Would you like to show the folks at home what a contour gauge looks like?
I don't have one with me actually.
CONTOUR.
I think I might have one.
So then I put the globe onto it, lit it up. It's kind of hard to see right now, but it does light up. The whole thing lights up inside. And it just sits on the table.
Josh says that is the worst, stupidest thing he's ever seen. I'm kidding. He said that's cool. Way to think outside the globe. And Stace says that's cute, and she wants to marry me. So the rest of it I cannot read.
So it's just basically one more, like Josh said, I think outside the box, globe, whatever.
The only suggestion I would make is a little less silicone, but dude, that's a viral kind of video. If you should make one if I don't do it first.
So there you go. This is a fancy, no frame.
Even without all that other stuff in there,
Type
that going
no
through the
frame.
globe is freaking cool.
And I thought it was a kind of cool idea. I think I came second place though.
You should have won. Just saying.
I got beat out by some stupid turn.
Recount. Go to the Supreme Court.
Like I'm pretty sure.
Hey, John.
I'm pretty sure I got beat out by Holly. Yes.
Here's a contour gauge.
Let me put him on for a second.
Fine. Yes, you press that up against something, it'll copy the shape of it. That's how he copied the curve of the globe. And the globe is so thin that the diameter didn't change on the inside and the outside. So that's how he was able to glue that. That is so cool. Oh my god.
All right, John, I'm done looking for being seen.
I'm done
You
being
can hide me again. You can put me back in my room.
best to keep me hidden by a gun.
See, I'm pretty sure I got beat out by somebody that made snowmen.
Holly Denny.
Yep. And I said, she's like, oh, I said, I want to order a snowman. She goes, well, what do you want? I told her, I said, I want a snowman holding on to a couple tortoises.
With a big old hat.
So there's a snowman with two tortoises. Actually, they actually fell apart, but in shipping. And he was eating a piece of bacon. So the piece of bacon is here somewhere, but I just got to find it and reglue it back on. So yeah, she made me this whole like little diorama of the
That's
snowman
cool.
holding tortoises and eating a piece of bacon.
Sweet.
What do the tortoises have to do with the snowman? That's what confuses me.
Because I like bacon, Okay. Number one, she
Oh.
turned snowman, right? So she's a snowman turner. So that's what she does. She builds snowman. So I want a snowman, but I have 2 tortoises in the house as
Oh,
pets,
yeah.
and I like bacon.
That walk over their food.
So hence, tortoises and bacon.
Okay. Totally makes sense. You're Canadian. Can we not show off that you have teeth? Just saying.
My bacon has fiber in it though. It's fibrous bacon.
Well, fiber's good for you.
But too much fibrous bacon will bung you up. Anything else? Anybody? Any questions? Anything else?
No.
I actually got to get some work done today.
What? We
Yeah.
don't do orders here, mister.
But this way Charles can go to his show.
All right. Oh, this.
So I'm gonna sign off right away here.
Oh, man.
Say thank you to Charles for being on my panel. Thank you to Jamie for being on the panel. Thank you to Herb, who was here on the panel. Everybody over in the chat, over there. Everybody in the chat.
Thank you all for being here.
And anybody else that wants to ask questions or whatever have you, let me know. And I'll answer them, or I'll do a video if you guys want.
And me and Josh will be here to twist everything. Appreciate y'all dropping by.
So I think that's about it. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. And Jamie and Charles can say goodbye to everybody too.
Goodbye.
And have a good day. And we'll see you guys. I might even go on later tonight too. We'll see.
Me too. I might. By God.